People of the internet, today we begin our investigation into Mike David, aka Redbar. As many of you know, Redbar has been the bully of comedy for some time now. He has nothing that is off limits. He talks about their children, their wives, their sisters, their mobs, their dead relatives, and maybe even their ancestry. Mike David has no limits, and he is the king of the incels and the edgelords. Mike David, aka Redbar, also has a very checkered past that he himself has gone to great lengths, like a Tony Hinchcliffe comedy special, to hide. He has scoured the internet and he has hidden everything that could make him look bad in his past, because in his past there are a lot of dirty secrets. Now today, I will be reading all of those dirty secrets, but let me make one thing clear. I'm not saying any of this is truth. I'm not making any claims. I am just reading allegations from coworkers, co-hosts, former friends, and people that have been with Mike Redbar from the beginning or anywhere in between. So get ready, because today Redbar will be exposed. So grab your coffee, grab your joint. Redbar, you've been put on fool's notice. When you begin an investigation, you must look at the past. You must first look at who is Mike David? What is this guy all about? Where did he come from? Well, luckily enough, I found a post, an allegation about who Mike is. And we're going to read this to you. And like before, I told you Mike goes to great lengths to ban these things, and he has even done so. Well, actually, Jules has done so here, as you can see that it was removed. But luckily, I found it. So let us begin to learn about Mike David, aka Redbar. Mike used to have a live-in girlfriend, a comedy club, and real co-hosts on his show. His co-hosts never got paid, and most of them paid Mike by buying studio equipment or haircuts. He used the comedy club as his piggy bank and to serve his tiny megalomania. Along with physical and verbal abuse, he cheated on his girlfriend in the DMs with underage fans. Now, right there, we see the allegations against Mike claim that he abuses women verbally and physically, and he cheated on his girlfriend with an underage girl. Right? Are we clear on that? Are we clear on the allegations allegedly? Okay, let us continue. Jules was one of those fans. Ha ha ha, don't you say, motherfucker. Oh, shit, boy. What is going on? You don't say Jules is young? Who would have taught that? I didn't never think that would be a thing that could be true. And it is. Allegedly. Jules was one of those fans. She sent CP to Mike at his request. Now, for those of you who do not know what CP is, it's child, put the word hub. Child, the website hub. Do you get it? Child website with the name hub. Horn hub. It rhymes with horn. Let us say that. So CP is child, rhymes with horn. Okay, let's get that close. Underage, right? Mike of all people, allegedly would get this from Jules. Now, it could all check out, but anyways, let's keep going. Sound familiar? Mike hired Chris D'Elia to work at his club. They hung out. Mike used to show off pictures of his female fans, including CP, to his limited group of diehard fans like Todd Detter. Wow. So not only allegedly did Mike receive it, he would show his fans. Now, what kind of man would do that? Well, the kind of guy that would call himself Redbar and have a shit-ass show because he's a failed trust fund baby. That's the kind of man that would do that. Now, let us continue. One day, Mike threw his girlfriend into a sliding glass door. It didn't shatter, but she finally moved back home and left him. His co-host took the opportunity to leave Redbar also. And we can also find these allegations could be somewhat true. Let me see here. Where are we at? Oh, right here. Sven Stoffels. Now, if you haven't seen this, this is a big interview where Sven exposes Redbar and a lot of things he does. Sven had a falling out. I think they might have made up by now. I don't know. But they had a falling out. And you know when friends have a falling out, not just a normal one, a really bad one, they tend to try to get the upper hand by airing each other's dirty laundry. In fact, when friends have big blowouts, you will finally hear all the secrets that they share with each other. And that is exactly what happened here. Just to give you some context, it all adds up, allegedly. And it says they moved in together and got married. Jules, that is. Mike spiraled and lost his club to his Adderall and alcohol habit. Wow, Mike, aren't you the guy that goes on and exposes people in things like Big Mike and Aiden Ross are tweakers? It is pretty well known, allegedly, that Redbar has giant substance abuse problems. Now, what does a substance abuse user do? He tries to push everything away from him, including the attention to all of the substances he has ingested. Now, in this video, you will see that Mike, even with his own problems, is constantly bashing on anyone and everyone that has substance abuse issues. And Mike doesn't find him off limits, even though he himself is sitting there with alcohol and on pills during the show, allegedly. Now, there are hundreds of these videos where Mike goes after every kind of drug user in comedy or content creator, but we will not go there and show you all of them. You can look for yourself. Trust me, it's very easy to find. Now, let's continue on. Mike spiraled and lost his club to his Adderall and alcohol habit. Some people think he's faking sick, but he has been through some serious withdrawals from all the different drugs. The year off was dope sick and his family forcing him into a rich rehab in Arizona. Isn't that crazy? And you go, well, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Well, let's hear it from the words of Mike David, a.k.a. Redbar himself.
30.
So it's time. It's 3:30.
Yep.
So I am 5, 6, 7, 8 hours away. I've been on this thing for 8 hours. So this is where it gets scary, and this is where the drug companies and the doctors and all these pieces of shit should, I don't know if anyone's looking into the drug companies, but after 6 hours, and I've only been on these pills now for 2 months doing the minimum. After 6 hours, this is what happens. After 6 hours, you start going through withdrawal symptoms. How is that not by design from these companies? Because you know what an idiot would do? They start shaking. And do you know what withdrawal symptoms feel like? It's very unpleasant. You get nauseous. You get cold and hot at the same time. So you're sweating, but you're freezing. You get crawling out of your skin agitation. Have you ever had restless leg? Like, I'll wake up at 5 in the morning when the pill runs out. I'll go, ah, ja, whoo. Jules is like, what's going on? I went, nothing. Whoo, ah. And it's awful. And I go, I've only been on these pills for 2 months. And after 6 hours, I'm crawling out of my skin. And guess what? Every moron in the country would just keep eating them. And that's what they do. And that's why they die. And that's why they're addicted. Here's the bad part. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 pills left, and then we're done.
Say bye to those pills, baby.
So tonight, basically after today, I go into terrible withdrawal on the first week back of Redbar. Now, my plan is I've got 5 days worth of this withdrawal medication that does seem to work, but it's wacky. I mean, it makes you wacky. And then I'm going to switch back to Kratom. Kratom to carry on. I don't know what that will do to me. But here's my question for all you junkies and pillheads today. I took one of these at 7:30 a.m. Is it safe to have one shot of alcohol if I took this 110 milligram oxycodone at 7:30? Now, don't Google it. They'll tell you no. I'm asking the junkies.
You should ask yourself, because you are asking if you can be high on Oxycontin and drink at the same time, which, as we all know, is bad. Now, you can do it, like many of people do that, but we're just saying, Mike, is the pill not enough? Is the alcohol not enough? What is enough for you, Mike? It seems like you have a problem. And for those of you out there that don't know what kratom is, it is a substance you could buy at most smoke shops. They sell it in pill form, powder form, and it has opioid-like effects to it. In fact, a lot of opioid users have stated that kratom helped them quit, blah, blah, blah. But it's apparent that Mike has no problem sharing his drug habits with the world. And you know the people that share their drug habits with the world without any regard for their privacy, their respect, or out a little bit of shame, you know, that you're doing all these drugs? Drug addicts. Drug addicts are open about talking about drugs. In fact, here you can see that Mike has his giant bottle of alcohol and he has a giant strip of pills. Well, it's safe to say that he came back from a rehab. Well, obviously, his first week back, he's still high on oxycodone. So what good was that rehab in the first place? Let us continue. Redbar went away a while. Mike was losing a lawsuit over losing his comedy club. The Bring Back group formed on Facebook, so Redbar came back to take their money but didn't have anything to say, and there were no comedians left in Chicago who would go on his show. There were several live shows and ratty bars in cities where Mike could get enough fans to pay for his ticket and hotel room, where there was a girl he had in dirty DMs with, straight out of the D'Elia playbook. It's why Mike was able to predict Chris was a sex pest. And you could see that Mike David has spent a considerable amount of time on his shows going after Chris D'Elia. Now, what is one thing that people that are guilty do? They try to distract any attention away from them. You can now see that Redbar goes heavily after drug addicts. He goes heavily after sex pests. And he makes it a priority not to just mention it, but to beat the dead horse in the ground. And why is that? Because Mike doesn't want anyone uncovering his dirty secrets. Okay, yeah, sex pests. One of those in Canada was where he met Jules again. The 27-year-old Mike and the 17-year-old Jules did whoopee for the first time there. Now we have another allegation of Mike sleeping, well, at least in America, sleeping with an underage woman. Now, I don't know what the rules are in Canada, but I'm sure all of the incel Redbar fans are going to find some way to spin it that she was 16 or the law there is 15, or you can, if you go up to northern Canada in the woods, they can be as young as 14. But if we're just speaking in general terms, Mike did something you shouldn't do, allegedly. And the worst part of it is the next sentence here. She had to pay for the room. Imagine that, a 17-year-old girl that is not only being taken advantage of, but Mike is making her pay for the room, which at 17, what do you work at a movie theater or wait some tables? You don't have a lot of money. So Mike's just a creep, allegedly. Mike continued sleeping with whoever he could while they online dated until his fans collected enough money to bring her to America. So we have allegations now that Mike was sleeping with underage girls, sending photos back and forth with them, sharing those photos with his deepest fans, working with Chris D'Elia, and is an alcohol and drug addict. What a man! What a man. Redbar, are you watching? I hope the fuck you are, you dirty, dirty, allegedly dirty man. Now, moving on here, Mike continued. We did that. Okay. They eventually had a green card wedding and tennis shoes in a courthouse by a black magistrate. You mean the man who says the N-word constantly was married by a black man. Oh, the irony. Huh? How about that? You know, black people aren't good enough for you to respect them by not saying that horrible word, but they're good enough for you to marry the underage girl you were sleeping with, allegedly. It's crazy. Mike and his co-defendant, Cameron, lost another lawsuit over defaming Kyle Lane, and now you can't find his episodes in the archives. Imagine that. Later, Mike went on Compound and trolled some of the other hosts. His close friends who he shared the nudie pics with thought it would be fun to share them with hosts, and they trolled Mike so hard he had several meltdowns on air. It was too late to unflex Jules CP, and he couldn't call the cops because he was the one who distributed the CP. So he blamed whoever he could and got the original R Redbar shut down. There was an R Redbar 2 after that. Mike got it shut down too. He trolled comedian Amy Miller, and she had his socials locked by her connected text friends. So he begged her and swore to never say her name again to get them back. And for a fun caveat here, he also refuses to walk his dogs and makes them shit and piss in the bathtub. So not only is Mike Redbar the dirtiest man ever, he literally bathes himself in the place where his animals shit and piss. Isn't that the man? This is the man you have all been looking up to. You have all been telling me he is the king of the internet comedy world. This is the man. This man is 120 pounds soaking wet. He distributes CP. He sleeps with the people that he gets CP from. He hired Chris D'Elia and hung out with him while they were being creepy. He is an alcoholic, a drug addict, and he had a black man that he constantly slurs the black men of this country on his channel by saying the word he shouldn't say. It's all just so ironic what a big alleged creep Mike has turned out to be. Now, someone went on to explain this a little better, and I will get through it and read it just to summarize what we're looking at here. Redbar's vendetta. There's this alt-right failed stand-up podcast guy called Mike Redbar who was in the D'Elia documentary. If you search his name with Chris on YouTube, there's literally hours upon hours of Mike exposing Chris and his sex pest behavior. When he says expose, he might have firsthand experience, allegedly, of what Chris was doing and might have been participating. So exposing is a choice word there, thus the quotes. I found a worrisome post by this guy. And it goes on. The post that seems to point to some evidence that the two have history and they were in cahoots recruiting young girls. Apparently, Mike used to have a stand-up comedy club in Chicago that Chris D'Elia worked at. People are saying that their relationship was more than strictly professional. Mike brags about calling out Chris for his shirtless Instagram posts, going back to 2013. At the same time, he was video chatting with his own underage fan girls on Redbar. Is it more likely that Redbar predicted Chris would turn out to be a sex pest groomer a decade later, or that he had real first-hand knowledge that he went along with until it served his own interests more to tell the horrible truth? Well, I think maybe that's the case. Mike is known to have a trust fund, but his podcast was a fruitless endeavor for the first 20 years, languishing in an apartment studio. Then Redbar went away for a year right after Chris's lawsuit settled. Supposedly he was in opiate rehab, but he came back all of a sudden with a new condo, a new whip, a new expensive, albeit tacky studio set. With his inexplicable windfall and Chris's downfall happening at the same time, do you think it was possible that Mike Redbar's vendetta against Chris has something to do with his inside knowledge? Well, of course it does. Of course it does. What he's trying to say is Mike was probably paid off by his parents to stop being a drug addict, and he was probably also paid off to testify or give information about Chris D'Elia. I don't know, just speculating, allegedly. Where are we at here? Okay. Or could this be some kind of Hollywood tunneler blackmail bribery scheme against Chris and his famous father, Bill D'Elia? Why does Mike rush to erase certain criticism the same way Chris does? Well, as you can see here, just in case you Redbar fans want to deny this, we will go right up here and you can see that this post was also removed. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that you can't find, but I will find it. If foul play is involved, it's doubly messed up that Mike brought Chris's victims on his show live for their testimony. Let's be honest, Chris chose weak victims. Did Mike facilitate it, then use those victims for clicks? These are the questions. Mike, you know, it's like, it's always one person runs off and tries to act like they weren't guilty and runs to the authorities to tell on them. And it seems, allegedly, that Mike was probably involved in all of these things that Chris D'Elia did, but didn't want to go down with him as well. So, what have we learned today about Redbar at the start of our investigation? Well, hold on. I forgot the most important things, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let Sven, his former co-host, tell you one of Mike's dirtiest secrets.
Yes, that's what he's groomed her into becoming a producer, and she's also the person that wipes his ass, cleans his diapers.
He wears diapers?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Listen, dude, I'm not going to get all, like, again, what I said is I have, that's the thing.
You have.
I can go, you know.
Yeah, let Mike say one word, you know.
Listen, dude, he's not, he's pathetic.
Wow.
Let's just put it like that.
That is right. Diaper Mikey is a poopy pants. A poopy pants. Diaper Mikey. That's right. Redbar wears diapers and shits his pants, allegedly. That's from his longtime co-host, Sven. Now, isn't that interesting? Mike, the guy that loves to pretend he is better than everybody else, is just a failed trust fund baby addicted to drugs and CP. And if you don't believe that, look at the girl he's hiding. And I just wanted to show you a couple of clips. Wait, let me find it. Oh, of what he thinks of his nice young wife.
Very difficult podcast.
Joe
to do.
Coy sounds like Bobby Lee if you close your eyes. Low key Lee? Low key Lee. You okay? You okay? Hey! Earth to Jules? Hello? She won't even look at me. Hello?
I was
You
distracted.
okay?
Yeah. What
Talking
are
to you.
saying? Oh my God, what?
For the last 10 minutes, I was going, hello, hello, and
No,
you were
you-
going.
The
And
last 10 minutes. I was just here 2 seconds.
No, you're fucking out of there.
Well, that is what it is. They're not loyal to each other. They're drunks, they're alcoholics, and they're both calling each other out when the available moment is. The fact is that Redbar is actually a nobody without his parents' money because everything he's done has failed. He has used his fans. He has used young women. He has used his fans to go after people. And you know what? It's bitch shit. Mike Redbar, you are on fool's notice, you dumbass fuck. Because you know what? There is nothing worse than a bully. There is nothing worse than a bully. You are just like the bullies you talk about in comedy. The same people you go after are the same people that is you. And thus, it has begun my investigation into Redbar. You know what, Redbar fans? If you weren't so fucking annoying and you didn't accept the fact that I am not Redbar, I do not want to be Redbar, nor do I want to watch this dumb fucking show, none of this would have happened. But because you run your fucking mouths constantly, we're finding out who your boy really is. And me coming after you isn't even the point. The point is how can you support a man like this? Because if anybody knows who Mike is, you would, because he is the one he shared those pictures with. You are the people he shared the pictures with. You are the people that have been there the whole time. And the whole time you have supported an alleged predator and disgusting human being. Well, congratulations, guys. I hope Redbar is watching now.
Know you like to bang, yo. Don't stay.